We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure all its citizens justice, social, economic, political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring dignity of an individual and unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, we do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution. This is the Preamble of Constitution. Hello everyone, welcome to Tathastu-ICS. My name is Amit, and as you have guessed it rightly, we are today going to discuss about the Preamble of Constitution. The Preamble, which is called the soul of the Constitution, the Preamble, which is sometimes called the horoscope of Indian democratic setup, Indian democratic system, and which gives us a sneak peek into the whole of the Constitution. And it is also said that these are the words, these are the things of this Preamble which the whole Constitution tries to encapsulate, which the whole Constitution tries to elaborate. So today we are going to talk about Preamble and the purpose of Preamble and its different dimensions. So let us begin. But before that, a quick information for you that there are 4 very nicely designed courses are there. Number 1 is Main Success Launch Vehicle, admissions are open here. Another one is Prelim Success Launch Vehicle, PSLV, and it is coming soon. Third one is an NCRT module and registrations are open here. Fourth one is Philosophy and the batches are going to start, okay, and this will be held by Dr. Tanujan ma'am. These are the numbers and this is the address you can contact here. Okay, so let's begin with the introduction. What is the Preamble? Okay, so United States of America, we all know, is the first country which introduced a preamble in its constitution. And then in India, we get this idea from the objective revolution which has been tabled by Jawaharlal Nehru ji. Okay, so the preamble of India's constitution rooted in Jawaharlal Nehru ji's objective resolution from January 22, 1947, which serves as the guiding light. Okay, and we know we'll discuss why is it served as a guiding light. Although it is not legally binding, it embodies the basic philosophy and fundamental value on which the constitution is based. This is not legally binding, which means it is not enforceable by the court. You cannot go to the court and ask the court to make the legislature or the executive to ask the parliamentarians to do something to implement this preamble in some certain way, because it is not enforceable by a court, because it is not legally binding, but still it embodies the basic philosophy, it embodies the basic value on which our constitution is based, it embodies the basic idea on which this whole constitution and this democratic republic is based. Okay, and in the words of Justice Madholkar in Sajjan Singh versus State of Rajasthan, he affirms that the preamble bears the mark of meticulous deliberation and precision, signifying its paramount importance to the constitution. Okay, now these are the words, these are the things which have been said by Justice in the case of Sajjan Singh versus State of Rajasthan case, Justice Madholkar. Okay, and what is the significance of the preamble? The significance can be derived, and the significance can be understood by these 4 things. Why? Because one is A Palkhiwala. We all know about the Keshwananda Bharti case, the case Minerva Mills case, but the one thing which we sometimes miss in our books is this legendary man, Mr. Palkhiwala. He is the one who was the legal counsel on these important cases, and the idea and the doctrine of basic structure which we enjoy today. Now this is the 50th year of basic structure of the constitution, so this is the result of his legal acumen, his legal counseling. Okay, so he says that the preamble of the constitution is the identity card of our constitution. Some say it's summary of the constitution, some say it is the philosophy of the constitution. Okay, it carries the basic essence of the constitution, and some say it's a horoscope of the Indian democratic republic. Okay, Before going into the details, into the nitty-gritties and meticulously talking about the different words, what is sovereignty, what is secularism, what is socialism, what are these different words, and what are the different judgments which have been given. So this is the status of the preamble. Let's have a look on this. There were three significant cases which changed the relationship of the preamble with the constitution. Okay, so number one was Berubari Union case of 1960. So it was a clash of thoughts between India and Pakistan, that this is a small village which was then the part of Pakistan, which is now Bangladesh, and this small village both the authorities of India and Pakistan were looking that who should have the authority over this particular place. Okay, so in this Berubari Union case of 1960, it could be referred to in cases of vague and unclear terminologies in articles. However, the court ruled that preamble is not the part of Indian constitution and does not confer substantive powers on the state organs. Okay, so if the state organs, the legislative body wants, then it can change, then it can tweak with the preamble of the constitution. It is not the part of the constitution. It was said that it is not the part of the constitution. Then comes the legendary Keshwananda Bharti case in 1973. Here the preamble was considered an integral part of the constitution, and again it was reaffirmed first in Bomai case of 1994's SR Bomai case, and then eventually in LIC of India case of 1995. Supreme Court reaffirmed that the preamble is indeed an integral and inseparable component of the constitution, but it is not directly enforceable in the court of justice in India. Okay, that is why we in the introduction we discussed that yes, it is an integral part of the constitution, but it is not enforceable by the courts of India. Okay, let's move forward, and now we'll see the different words which are there: sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic, and then justice, liberty, equality, fraternity. How are these words, which sounds quite similar? Not very, but yes, a bit. Okay, because they all are there to envision a kind of society which needs to be made, the Indian society. So what is sovereignty? What is sovereign? So sovereign means independent. Sovereign means you have the right to take your decisions. Okay, a country has a right to take its decision, and it's not a dominion. It's not someone on which there is some another country or some another ruler who has its say. Okay, so India is a complete independent state. India is a complete sovereign state. It is not under the dominion of any other country and holds sovereignty in both internal and external matters. Okay, it has the way India wants, they can make policies for itself. The way India wants, they can make they can tweak its diplomacy. The way India wants, they can take care of its defense and strengthen its defense and its police forces, police structure, plus and administrative structuring also. Okay, that is why it has been said that India is a sovereign state. As a sovereign country, India can acquire foreign territory or cede a part of another country. Okay, so there was a amendment, 100th Amendment Act of the Constitution, where the two countries, India and Bangladesh, they exchange the territories between them. Okay, 51 villages have been given, 51 parts were given to the another country, Bangladesh, and 51 were given to India and 111 were given to Bangladesh. Okay, if I am correct, this was the number, this was the ratio, 51:111. Okay, so this was we are able to do this because India is a sovereign country, and there is a situation where India can acquire a foreign territory or India can cede any part of the part of its territory to another country. Okay, another thing is socialist. This particular word and two other words, so there is a mnemonic called SIS. So these three words are socialist, integrity, and secular. Okay, so these are the three words which have been introduced by 42nd Amendment Act of 1976, the same 42nd Amendment Act which has been called the mini constitution. Okay, India follows democratic socialism. Okay, democratic socialism. Now what is democratic socialism? Where in 1976, when we adopted this term, the same world was going through a period of Cold War where there were two broad ideologies: capitalism, capitalist ideology, where the private members should hold, and the private members, the private property was the idea. Capitalist economy. Socialist economy was there was no concept of private property, and the state is the owner. Okay, it was quite close to, not socialist, the word was communist. Okay, capitalism and communism. Then there's a word called socialism. So India allows democratic socialism, where it adopts a mixed economic model where the public and private sector, they can coexist. You don't literally have to choose between capitalism and between the communism. You can walk the tightrope between the two, between these two ideologies, and you can have an economic model where the public and the private sectors, they can coexist. Another thing is secularism. Now, as I said, SIS, other than socialist, the another word which has been added by 42nd Amendment Act in 1976 was secularism, and it was the part, it is also the part of basic structure doctrine. Secularism is called the same basic structure which India, the same basic structure doctrine which has been given in Keshwananda Bharati case, and it is said that you can, in that particular case, it was said that you can, if the government wants, it can change any part of the constitution until and unless it doesn't hamper the basic structure of the constitution. Okay, and secularism, the secular idea, is the basic structure, is considered the basic structure of the constitution. So if any country, if any government wants, then also they cannot really tamper with this particular idea. Okay, so ये जो धर्म निरपेक्षता है, इसके साथ कोई भी छेड़छाड़ नहीं हो सकती. Although Supreme Court said that, although this particular word has been added in 1976, now it was said that the philosophers and the forefathers of the Indian Constitution, they thought that this is this is the essence of Indian Constitution, and this is the way of living, the way India lived in a secular environment. So there is no need to add this particular word, but when the need was filled, so it has been added. And the court says that the idea of secularism is implicitly mentioned between Article 25 to 28, which, and these are the articles 25, 26, 27, 28. They talk about right to freedom. Okay, right to freedom of religion, and this is a fundamental right. All religions have the same status and support from the state, that is positive secularism. Okay, so in India we basically adopt the doctrine of equidistance. Okay, so the principle of equidistance, where the state, where the government doesn't have a particular religion of the state. Okay, the central government doesn't have any particular religion, the state government doesn't have any particular religion, but the same government will not interfere in the matters of the public faith until and unless it is required. Okay, so principle of equidistance is that we will stay away until and unless it is hampering the structure of the society, the idea of the society, or the idea of the constitution. So be it sati, although sati has been banned a few years back when we got our constitution, but be it the idea of triple talaq, or be it any similar idea which is hampering the dignity of the women, or which is hampering the fabric of the Indian constitution, then that particular thing will be called off. Okay, so there is a equidistance. We don't follow a quite of negative secularism which is there in France, where you don't really, the government and the people will not really appreciate and respect if you are publicly demonstrating your respect towards a religion. In India, it is said that we follow a positive secularism, but with that positive secularism, there is also an idea of equidistance, a principled equidistance from that particular thing. Okay, another one is democratic. Now, with this democratic, there is another doctrine, the doctrine of popular sovereignty. Popular sovereignty means the leader which has been chosen to rule or to serve. Actually, in democracy, in republic, there is the idea is not to rule but to serve the people. So to serve the people, it implies a doctrine of popular sovereignty where supreme power rests with the people. Okay, because the idea of preamble is that it shows that what is the source of its power. People are the source of its power. And another thing is, the two main purpose is to show its source, and the other thing is it wants to show its objective. Objective is to take care to fulfill the needs and to fulfill the demands of the constitution. So In India, there is a doctrine of popular sovereignty where the supreme power rests with the people, and a representative parliamentary democracy with executives being responsible to the legislature. Okay, so in democratic setup there is this thing, there is representation of the people, and then there is responsibility. There is responsibility of the people who are governing. Representation of the people would be there, and the people who are governing, they would be responsible. So there are two R's. Okay, representation भी रहेगा, and जो लोग representation कर रहे हैं उनकी responsibility भी रहेगी. ठीक. It encompasses political, social and economic democracy. Now this democratic setup would not be only just political democracy where you would be allowed to vote, where you would be allowed to participate in the elections, but there would be some social democracy also, economic democracy also. Now here are a few examples. Universal adult franchise. Okay, so earlier it was 21 years of age, then it has been reduced to 18 years of age under 61st Amendment Act. Then in universal adult franchise, all the adults above the age of 18 are said that their vote, one vote, each vote has similar value. Okay, and they are allowed, if they are the legal citizens of India, then they would be allowed to vote. Then there is periodic election. The elections will be held on a periodic manner, so that the people who are who have the supreme power, they would be allowed, they are powerful enough to remove those particular representatives if they try to think that rather than serving, they are here for the rule. Okay, so periodic elections are there. There is rule of law where the law is supreme. Yes, there are three different structures where executive is there, where legislature is there, where judiciary is there, but there is the rule of law. Okay, and that particular law, everybody would work according to the law, and that law would be supreme. Then there would be independence of judiciary and absence of discrimination on certain grounds, be it caste, creed, religion or sex. That is why it has been called a social democracy. Okay, and you'd be allowed to follow any legal, economic, business or the legal economic profession which you want to do. You want to indulge in trade and commerce, that too also for your survival, for the successful and the vibrant growth of the economy and the country. Then there is also economic democracy. So there are different type of democracies also. Another thing is republic. Okay, so now in every democratic political structure, okay, in every democratic polity, there are two types of republic. One is monarchy and another one is republic. Okay, so with monarchy, the head of the state is someone who is hereditary. For example, we have examples like Japan or this particular Britain. Okay, but in republic, the head of the state is elected, be it the direct election or the indirect election. In India, we follow the indirect election, and we would, our democratical political setup is republic. Okay, India adopted its republican nature, its republican structure in 1949 when we gave ourselves this constitution, the Constitution of India. As a matter of fact, Pakistan gave itself the status of republic in the year of 1956. Okay, so there is a democratic political setup. Under that democratic political setup, there is one republic, then there is monarchy. If we talk about monarchy, where the head of the state is hereditary, then there are two examples like Japan, like Britain. In India, we follow the election for the head of the state. Elections are also of two types: indirect election, direct election. In India, we follow indirect election, and currently our president, the head of the state, is Draupadi Murmu ji. Okay, now let's see what is this particular definition. And then there were two facts. In 1949, India became republic when it gave itself this particular thing, this particular constitution, and as a matter of fact, Pakistan became republic in 1956. Okay, so in a republic, the head of the state is elected by the people. India's president is elected head of the state, serving a fixed term of 5 years. Okay, our republic signifies two type of things. particularly two types of things: vesting political sovereignty in the people, not a single individual like a king. Earlier also, when we were talking about the sources of the constitution, then also we discussed that for the very first time this particular idea was given by Aristotle, okay, that there should not be the concentration of power into a king only. There should be different, there should be a decentralization of the power. Okay. So vesting political sovereignty in the people, not a single individual like a king. A republic signifies this thing for the first thing. And the second thing is the absence of a privileged class, with all the public offices open to every citizen without discrimination, without any kind of discrimination. They are open to every kind of citizenship, every kind of all the citizens of the India, and there is absence of privileged class. It means no class would be favored on the basis of caste, creed, religion or anything. Okay, everybody would be equal. This is the definition. This is what republic signifies. Another thing is, we'll finish it quickly. Another thing is justice. So it has been derived from the Russian Revolution, when the Tsar regime came to an end in 1917. So from there, this particular idea of justice has been taken. It encompasses three types of justice: social, economic and political. In India, we follow a distributive justice. A distributive justice, which means there is a combination of social and economic justice. Okay. Now the aim of the social justice is to ensure equal treatment for all citizens without social distinctions based on caste, color, race, religion, sex, etc. And the objective is to eliminate the privileges for any specific group. Okay. In the eyes of the constitution, as the law is the supreme, so in the eyes of the law, in the eyes of the constitution, everybody is equal, be it a person who is having a BMW or a person who is pulling a rickshaw. In the eyes of the constitution, everyone is equal, and the aim is to ensure that there would be an equal treatment for all citizens without any discrimination or without any social distinction. Okay. The focus on improving the conditions would be there for the backward classes and for the women. This is what justice talks about. Now, there, other than social justice, there is economic justice and political justice. So the goal of economic justice is to prevent discrimination based on economic factors. Okay, there is some person who is wealthy, there is a person who is in the economic bracket of he's earning something that he's paying government around 30% of the tax. Okay, so he's earning in crores. So if a person is there and then there's a person who is earning 300 rupees a day, then also there would be no discrimination on the basis of economic inequality. Eliminate the inequality in wealth, income and property. Okay. Then the political justice, the objective is guarantee equal political rights, access to all political offices and equal participation in government of all citizens. Okay. Another thing is equality, absence of special privileges on any section of the society, adequate opportunities for all without discrimination. The preamble secures equality of status and of opportunity, and everyone is equal before the law. Okay, everyone is equal before the law, and there the person who would be treated would be on the basis of the justice, would be treated on the basis of the idea of the constitution which is there. Another thing is liberty. Now it is rooted in the ideals of French Revolution. Liberty, equality, fraternity, everything has been taken from the French Revolution. So it is rooted in the idea of French Revolution: liberty, equality, fraternity. The French Revolution of 1989, which has been called the mother of all revolutions, it entails the absence of restraints on individual activities and provides opportunities for the development of the individual personalities. Okay, so there is an individual and there is particular restrictions on its activities. Okay, maybe you are independent, you have liberty, but that liberty is also checked. There is no absolute liberty. That is why there is restriction on your activities. So while talking about the liberty, the idea of liberty is putting some restrictions on the activities of an individual on one hand, and on the other hand providing same individual the opportunities to develop itself, to grow and to go for holistic development, not only for himself or herself but for the welfare of the whole of the nation. So these are the two ideas which are associated with the idea of liberty. The preamble secures liberty of thought, expression, thoughts, matlab you'd be allowed to think anything you want. You are able to express, you are able to believe the way you want to believe in a certain thing. You could have your different faith and you could have your different way of worship. There is a reasonable restriction on it, but largely people are free to think, the people are free to express, to have a belief, to have a faith, and to worship in a certain manner. Liberty doesn't mean the license to do whatever one pleases. It must be enjoyed within the limitations mentioned in the Constitution. As I said, that you are allowed to do all these things, but under reasonable restrictions. That is why we, after discussing everything, liberty, equality, fraternity, justice, and then sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic, we discussed all these things, and by discussing everything you can conclude that examining different ideas and expression in the preamble reveals that the lofty languages which have been used, all these words which have been used in the preamble, it encapsulates the essence, the guiding principle, the ideals, and the spirit of the entire Constitution. Okay, it tells us that what is the spirit of the Constitution, how is it the way in which the Constitution wants to conduct itself, what is the essence of the Constitution, what is it which we really demand from the Constitution, and what is it which has been why this Constitution has been designed, and what purpose it really is needed to serve to the people of India. Okay, so the essence, the spirit of the Constitution, the guiding principles, what should be the way in which a particular individual, the group of society, and eventually the whole of the nation should conduct themselves. There are reasonable restrictions, but again there are opportunities through which the individuals and the societies can develop themselves, and they can allow themselves to grow holistically. The remaining sections and the clauses of the Constitution merely expand upon and strive to provide substance, form, and significance to the sentiments expressed in the preamble. The idea, the words which are there, and then there are sentiments, then there is the essence which is there, and every other clause, every other article, every part of the Constitution, they are striving, they are trying to do what? They are trying to give the form to this particular idea which has been given into the preamble of the Constitution, to give significance to what has been written into the preamble of the Constitution. Okay, so this was preamble, and we discussed what was preamble and its purpose. We'll meet in another class. Until then, take care. Bye bye. Like the video if you've liked, and share it with your friends. Thank you very much. Subscribe to the channel if you really like the content.